One thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Edinburgh Napier University, the #1 modern university in Scotland, is now recruiting for their May 2025 intake and is holding a free information session at the Kuna Conference Centre, Wilkin Street, Bastair, on March 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Edinburgh Napier's programs, which include the AACSB, accredited MBA, and BA Business, are 100% online, 100% relevant, and 100% flexible. Reserve a place now at www.seidegrees.com. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Babe, we can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Let's get real on Win FM. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real talk with Lavi covers all. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
Well, that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they are full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Yes, society broke down. Yeah, no. Too many money alone, only the dumb.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And a pleasant good day to you and yours, wherever you may be at this moment. Welcome to another presentation of Island Tea. I'll be your host today, and we'll get right into it. As you have noted, there's continued heightened tension in the region of Guyana and Venezuela, and to that extent, the security of Guyana is seemingly compromised. Now, it is assumed that Guyana might seek assistance from the United States of America in relation to buttressing their security along their borderlines. With that in mind, and bearing also in mind the trend that the President of the United States has been taking in his second term in relation to security for some sort of financial, well, we will give you security if you can give us something in by way of finances. And we know that Guyana is rich in oil and other minerals. So it is assumed that Trump will take the very same stance he has taken with other countries in relation to Guyana and offering security. So let us listen to a clip that tries to make an assessment of the likely trend Trump will take in offering assistance to Guyana.
Free oil from Guyana for protection from Venezuela. Trump's strategy. Resources for protection. Donald Trump has always viewed U.S. military power as a bargaining chip rather than a traditional diplomatic tool. Unlike past presidents who framed military alliances around shared democratic values or security commitments, Trump has repeatedly hinted that U.S. protection should come at a price, often in the form of economic or resource-based concessions. This approach aligns with his broader America First policy, where he emphasizes transactional diplomacy over long-standing alliances. Throughout his presidency and beyond, he has suggested that wealthy nations should pay the U.S. for military assistance, whether in NATO, the Middle East, or Asia. This philosophy is now extending to South America, particularly in Guyana. With Venezuela's renewed threats over the disputed Essequibo region, an area rich in oil and natural resources, Trump sees an opportunity. He could offer Guyana military protection against Venezuelan aggression, but in return, he may demand favorable access to Guyana's massive oil reserves. Given the significant investments by American oil giant ExxonMobil in Guyana, Trump may leverage U.S. influence to ensure that Guyana prioritizes U.S. interests in oil extraction and exportation. If Trump successfully brokers such a deal, it would mark a shift in how the U.S. engages with its allies and partners in the Western Hemisphere. Instead of providing security based on diplomatic commitments, he would be establishing a model where financial or resource-based contributions are prerequisites for American military support. This could lead other nations, including those in the Caribbean and South America, to reevaluate their alliances with the U.S. and consider diversifying their security partnerships with other global powers. Why Guyana's oil matters to Trump. Guyana is home to one of the fastest-growing oil reserves in the world, with recent discoveries placing it among the top oil producers in the Western Hemisphere. This small South American nation has become a major player in global energy markets, with vast offshore reserves drawing the interest of major corporations, including ExxonMobil. Under a Trump administration, securing access to Guyana's oil could be crucial for both economic and strategic reasons, particularly as the U.S. seeks to counter China's growing influence in the Caribbean and South America. Trump has long advocated for energy independence and dominance, often pushing for more favorable oil deals with allies and economic partners. By framing U.S. military support as a necessity for Guyana's security against Venezuela, he could pressure Guyana's leadership into providing the U.S. with preferential oil agreements. This would not only strengthen America's energy security, but also counter Venezuela's influence in the region, which remains aligned with China, Russia, and Iran. Beyond economic factors, Trump's interest in Guyana's oil could also serve as a geopolitical strategy to regain leverage over global energy markets. With increasing competition from oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia and Russia, securing a steady supply from Guyana would allow the U.S. to maintain greater control over production and pricing. If Trump succeeds in negotiating a resource for protection deal, it could lead to further tensions with OPEC and non-aligned oil-producing nations that see such arrangements as a threat to their market influence. The Venezuela-Guyana border dispute. The border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana is one of the longest-running territorial conflicts in Latin America. Venezuela claims the Essequibo region, a vast area covering 2/3 of Guyana, as its own territory, based on historical treaties dating back to the 19th century. In recent years, the discovery of significant oil reserves in Essequibo has reignited tensions, with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro taking an increasingly aggressive stance. Maduro has even conducted military exercises near the disputed border and held a controversial referendum, rallying public support for Venezuela's claim. Given this backdrop, Trump could position himself as a defender of Guyana's sovereignty while simultaneously pushing for American access to its oil. A potential military presence in Guyana would serve as both a warning to Venezuela and a strategic move to secure America's energy interests. However, such a deal would not come without controversy. If Guyana were to agree, it could face backlash from CARICOM nations and other global powers wary of increased U.S. militarization in the region. Moreover, Venezuela's alliance with Russia and China could complicate matters further. If Trump moves forward with military support for Guyana, it could prompt a stronger response from these global powers, potentially escalating tensions in the region. Any perceived U.S. intervention in Guyana's affairs might also embolden Maduro to seek greater military assistance from Moscow and Beijing, creating a geopolitical standoff that could extend beyond Latin America. Trump's similar playbook in Ukraine. The idea of Trump seeking economic returns for military protection is not unique to Guyana. Reports have surfaced that he has considered a similar arrangement with Ukraine, suggesting that U.S. military support against Russia should be tied to access to Ukraine's vast mineral resources. Ukraine is rich in rare earth minerals, lithium, and other critical materials essential for modern technology, and Trump's focus on resource-based diplomacy could mean pressuring Ukraine into granting the U.S. economic privileges in exchange for continued military aid. This approach reflects Trump's broader skepticism of unconditional foreign aid. He has often criticized military assistance that does not yield direct benefits for the U.S., arguing that allies should contribute more financially or economically. By linking security guarantees to resource access, he could reshape traditional U.S. alliances into more transactional relationships. However, such a stance risks alienating allies and undermining America's long-term strategic influence. If Trump successfully pressures Ukraine into such a deal, it could set a precedent for future U.S. engagements with allied nations. Countries facing security threats may feel compelled to surrender economic resources in exchange for military protection, fundamentally altering the nature of global alliances. Such a shift could also encourage adversaries like Russia and China to offer competing security deals, further fragmenting global diplomatic ties. Global consequences. If Trump pursues a protection for resources strategy with Guyana, it could have significant geopolitical repercussions. Venezuela, already an ally of Russia and China, could be further pushed into their sphere of influence. If Trump explicitly ties U.S. military support to oil access, it could provoke diplomatic backlash from Venezuela's allies, leading to increased tensions between Washington and Beijing or Moscow. Additionally, such a move might encourage other nations to adopt a more aggressive stance in securing their own resource-driven interests. For Guyana, accepting such a deal could mean greater security against Venezuela, but at the cost of economic sovereignty. While
Okay, so having heard that, what do you feel would be the likely outcome if such a decision is taken? Do you agree with what has been proposed, that it could cause a breakdown of global alliances or the normal trend that has been existing prior? Could this be a new precedence being set as to whenever you need assistance, how it would all break down in terms of coming to an agreement? If you feel that that is the most likely case, or if you have other scenarios, perhaps you can give me a call and interject and outline how you feel about such. Let me give you some numbers. The numbers are 466-0989. That is the internal numbers, 762-0989, and the overseas numbers 305 921 4619 and 718 285 6984. Let me repeat them again for you. The on island numbers 466-0989 and 762-0989. The overseas numbers 305 921 4619 and 718 285 6984. Let me take a bit of a break and I'll be back with you momentarily.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Tune in to Creative Voices, the ultimate radio call-in program where innovation meets inspiration. Join me, Dr. Sarah Owen, as I welcome brilliant Caribbean creatives and innovators for engaging sessions that promise to spark your creativity. Don't miss this unique opportunity to interact with our guests, ask your burning questions, and gain insights that could elevate your own creative endeavors. Tune in every other Friday from 10 a.m. to midday. Get inspired. Let your voice be heard. Mark your calendars and prepare to embark on a journey of creativity and innovation with Creative Voices.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interests of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Edinburgh Napier University, the #1 modern university in Scotland, is now recruiting for their May 2025 intake and is holding a free information session at the Kuna Conference Centre, Wilkin Street, Bastair, on March 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Edinburgh Napier's programs, which include the AACSB, accredited MBA, and BA Business, are 100% online, 100% relevant, and 100% flexible. Reserve a place now at www.seidegrees.com. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Babe, we can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And I'm back with you. The time is 27 minutes moving away from the 8 o'clock hour. I'll be on my own again today, but hopefully I think that Hortensia, you will be graced with Hortensia's presence tomorrow, so you won't have my face taking up the screen and your time. Okay, so how do you feel about the situation as it relates to Guyana and Venezuela and the increased tension. Hello? Good day. Okay, hello? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And how are you today?
Okay. Too bad Cotton isn't here to discuss that topic.
You know?
Yeah. But that sounds almost like extortion to me.
Yes.
Yeah, like a mafia boss offering protection.
Yeah.
Right? And the Caribbean should have no part of that. But what I think should happen, every time there's a flare-up between Guyana and Venezuela, the other CARICOM partners step in and mediate, and things settle down, and they go back to business as usual.
Yeah.
I think they should go beyond that this time. I think they should have a sustained effort to really settle things between Guyana and Venezuela without external influence.
Yes.
Right? I think it can be done if all of them really put their mind to it. And one of the ways that could do it is for Venezuela to relinquish its claim, because even though it might have a valid claim.
Yes.
You can't just go around saying that, it was the old colonial powers who declared the boundaries and that sort of thing, which is true.
Yes.
Right? But you can't establish a good relationship, a lasting relationship with your neighbors based on that. Otherwise, you're going to have confusion throughout the world.
Yes.
So I'm saying let them relinquish the claim with the proviso that they are allowed to help to develop the resources in the disputed territories.
Yes.
There's no reason why they can't share the oil. I don't see any reason why they can't have joint projects to develop the oil fields and sell it to the benefit of both of them. They are neighbors.
Yes, yes. But don't you think to completely relinquish their claim, if they completely relinquish their claim, do you think that Guyana might feel obligated to share? If they do, what about relinquishing part of the claim, then coming to an agreement where you say, well, instead of 2/3, it is, something more like that?
Well, that's an option as well.
Yes.
But I don't like the idea. Cotton would say, not a blade of grass. Don't like the idea of further demarcating boundaries.
Yes.
Right? Just leave things as they are, but in
coming to an agreement
as a gift for relinquishing your claim.
Yes.
And therefore future stability is assured. They get options to develop the resources in that area. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. It's like, for instance, let's suppose you have the Station Bank or whatever they call it.
Yes.
I don't know how much our fishers fish there, but it may be part of really Station.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But let both islands utilize the resources in that area. What's wrong with that? It might be Stations.
Yeah.
Right? Based on the territorial demarcation, the law of the sea and all that kind of stuff, international stuff. But there's no reason why fishers from both can't develop the resources. There's enough. I mean, I can't see it being overfished to the point where you're going to have a war between Station and St. Kitts. And it's the same thing down there in Guyana. They've discovered so much oil, right? There's no reason why they can't share the resources. That is the way I think they should go.
I
keep Guyana intact, but let Venezuela have options to develop the resources, just like anybody else. I mean, it didn't have to be ExxonMobil doing it.
Your what you put forward sounds plausible to me, but I have a problem when I think about human tendency towards greed, and
that's exactly what it is.
Yes, that is the problem that you will face down the line on either side. If Venezuela gives up the claim, down the line, another regime could say, well, you gave up the claim, and this is ours completely. If they don't give up the claim, then you find forever there's this dispute between what is mine and what isn't mine. But I also
exactly. If you don't give up the claim, it's going to be a perpetual problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
similarly though, remember that Trump is only there for 4 years.
Yes.
And American policy may change again in 4 years.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Good point.
So what I'm saying is, CARICOM and the CARICOM. Hello.
We had another. Hello? I was trying to engage another caller, and you yourself, but we lost that other caller. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I'm saying that CARICOM and CARICOM leaders should not just stay and feel that they don't have a role in this.
Yeah.
And just roll over and let the U.S. And Guyana essentially do what it wants, because I thought we had declared the Caribbean area a zone of peace.
Yes.
We don't want no superpower rivalry in the area again. Okay? So they should actively go. They should preempt that by actively going out and trying to get a permanent solution to the Venezuela Guyana dispute.
And sooner rather than later, as quickly as they could.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, they had these things in St. Vincent when they diffused the situation.
There's
and then they go back to sleep.
There's another caller. Let's see if we can engage that other caller. Hello?
Good morning.
Good day.
You know, I'm listening to Mr. Letmore, all right? All he's saying so nice and dandy. If you were dealing with a reasonable person.
Yes, yes.
Maduro wants all for himself. If he could right now move Guyana, he probably would go in there and invade them. He wants all for himself. If you're dealing with a reasonable person, I could say, well, okay, yeah, that could work. But even if he agreed to something today, by tomorrow, I thought he changed his mind a couple months or years down the line. When you look, he changed his mind. So the people of Guyana, the leader of Guyana, have to look out for Guyanans. They have to decide what is their best interest.
Yes.
And I know that he said, what Trump is offering is like, what do you call it?
Blackmail, extortion.
Yeah, blackmail, extortion. Well, I can understand that also, but what the leader has to weigh in the balance and see what do he want. Speak to his people. See what the people want. It's time now that leaders get together with their people and discuss special matters like this with the people. Maduro is not a reasonable person. So, Guyana, look out for yourself.
Is that when you say Maduro is not a reasonable person, do you realize that there always has to be some villain in this, okay? And the villain is usually determined by the United States.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
That's a good point.
I mean, Maduro might be a tough guy, yes, to negotiate with and so on. But I don't like the idea of other people coming in and deciding that he's the villain, don't talk to him.
Yes, because
right?
because if I agree with you 100% because when Trump does this, they say he's using it as a negotiating tactic. But
Yeah.
when Maduro is, who says Maduro isn't also using it as a tactic to negotiate in the long run? But
Yeah, I'm sure he would want to look after the best interests of Venezuela.
Yes, but
and just like how Ghana would want to look after their best interests as well.
Yes,
but I'm
yes.
saying that there's got to be some compromise, some middle ground.
I agree.
Where the long-term interests of both countries are looked after, and I'm thinking it's resources, right? It's resources on the ground, and you have artificial borders when in fact, and that is why you have the immigration problem. You always go to where the opportunities are, okay? And there's no reason why visionary leadership can't say, look, there's enough resources here for both Ghana and Venezuela.
Yeah.
Let's try and develop them for the betterment of for both our peoples, both our countries, right? And I'm saying that can be negotiated.
I agree.
Just that people are unwilling to take the first steps, and as Cleo said, some people are greedy.
Yeah.
And want all. Okay, I'm saying though that CARICOM can step in and do the negotiations without these external people, China, Russia, Europe, and North America, coming in to muddle the waters, because they're not coming in to help.
Yes.
They are coming to look after their interests, right? And so one of the unfortunate things I've noticed is how CARICOM seemed to have been divided, ostensibly by the Jamaican Prime Minister, because he tended to look more northwards.
Yes.
Right? Rather than try and solve the regional problems within the region. Okay? That I think that is unfortunate, and I don't know, and that is a problem too, I guess. There's no one leader in the Caribbean who one can say is visionary and who the others may galvanize behind and get things done. There's no, I don't like the word strong man.
Yeah.
Because that suggests a dictator. But there's no Mandela-like or Gandhi-like person emerging among the leaders who can really see what is best for the future of our region and get the others to go along. Everybody doing their own thing.
Having said that, and I concur with you, it would be interesting to hear what Mayor Motley would have to say, because I was sort of looking at a clip which I would have to listen to in its entirety, where she was saying to Trump that he should leave the Caribbean and Africa and those regions populated by black people alone. So, at least she's bold enough to make a statement, a verbal statement.
Again, sounds bold, yes.
Yes.
But when you're dealing with somebody as conceited as Trump, you got to say it in the proper way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know what will happen. I mean, the hard fact is we are small and vulnerable.
Yes.
Okay? Guyana is getting attention now because it has oil, but where does that leave the rest of us? Like all the OECS countries, Barbados, where does that leave us? We're like non-entities. Nobody is offering no pact to us because we don't have oil. Right?
Recently, I think I saw, I would have to peruse again, I think I saw an article that said either Barbados or Grenada, some one of them have recently discovered oil also. Grenada.
Yeah, Grenada.
Yeah. And
I think they were going towards Russia and China developing their thing.
Their facilities.
See, we don't want that kind of rivalry in the area. It's is
It's
not
not
going to be
healthy.
good for us.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's not
agree.
healthy.
I agree.
Right? And so we should try to avoid that as far as possible. And how do we avoid that? Not by each country going off on its own. I hope Guyana don't decide, man, I got oil now.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in CARICOM any longer. I got the US to protect me.
Yeah.
And I'm really a South American country. And forget about them.
Remember,
You know?
remember in the past that was one of the vein taken by Trinidad and Tobago long ago. I got oil, you
Yeah.
know, and so forth.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So
You know, and yes,
we don't want to relive that.
right. And, you know, it's interesting how oil has become a big player again when the world was moving away from fossil fuel.
Yeah.
I doubt that we're going to...
Mr. McMahon, that statement, I mean, I'm sure I heard an article that said some of those big oil producing companies have, they will have a tendency to say, well, we're going to cut down on the fossil fuel emissions, blah, blah, blah. But from my recent understanding, a lot of them are stepping away from that and saying, we're not going to make any statements that we're going to stop this. So the question is, will we move away from fossil fuel, or will they just, because the world is still heavily dependent on it?
Yeah, it is. No. But I am supposing that the technology for renewable energy and so on would be improved to such an extent that really and truly it becomes competitive
Yes.
with fossil fuel.
Yeah,
And the day that happens, well, you know what's going to happen. The point I'm making is that, and by the way, you realize that our latitude, is it latitude? Yeah.
Yeah.
With tropical climate, etc., favors the development of renewable
Energy.
energy.
Yeah.
Right? And so we really should not be following the lead of the northern countries or the extreme southern countries in terms of this, because I can understand, I mean, they only have so much period of
Sunshine.
sunlight,
Yeah.
and you know, the weather patterns are such that it does not really foster the development of renewable type energy,
Yes.
at least not the ones that we are well aware of.
Yes.
Okay. So I would hope that, and this is why, I mean, we always go against China, but China seems to be leading in that technology, the solar technology, electric vehicles, and those kinds of things.
Yes.
And we should refrain from letting the West
Yes.
tell us that we should not be cooperating with China.
Yes, yes.
We should absolutely
I agree.
not fall into that trap.
Yes.
Okay? Right? So Cleo, you know, stop letting those countries tell us who our enemies should be and who the villains are.
Yes.
Right? Negotiate with them, and you realize, no, Trump has this thing of negotiating with the enemies. He wants to negotiate with Russia.
Yes.
He's negotiating with Hamas, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the man is a practical man. You got to admit that, right? Common sense. You might say he's not very smart, or he's very smart, but
Well,
he makes some dumb moves,
recently,
as Trudeau would say.
Yes, recently Trudeau said. And after Trudeau said that, you heard his retaliation in terms of tariffs, you know. So
Yeah, you know. So what I'm saying is, we in the region should take control of our region and settle whatever disputes there are. Well, the main one, of course, is Guyana, Venezuela. Really have a sustained effort to do it, not just to put a lid on things. Okay, don't let the volcano blow up.
Yes.
But have a sustained effort to come to a lasting solution to this. And I'm saying that you have to talk to my juror and not don't allow yourself
Don't
to be
isolate him.
but don't bully.
Yes.
Don't bully either.
Yes.
Right? Talk and see if you could come up with an arrangement.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Thank you for
All
your
right.
input. Yes. Okay. Rather interesting there. Well, let's take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Attention, St. Kitts and Nevis. Ready to hit the road in style? Hosford's Automotive presents Fat Off Drive On Sales Event. Get up to $15,000 in total savings and much more, including no down payment, free bid of sale, free servicing for 12 months. Choose between $1,000 in groceries or free gas for 3 months, free registration, free licensing, free tinting, free accessories, and more. Don't miss out with 4% fat off. It's never been easier to own your own dream car. These savings and deals happening now. So visit Hosford's Automotive and drive home happy. Hosford's Automotive, where affordability meets the road. Terms and conditions apply.
Edinburgh Napier University, the #1 modern university in Scotland, is now recruiting for their May 2025 intake and is holding a free information session at the Kuna Conference Centre, Wilkins Street, Bastair, on March 13th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Edinburgh Napier's programs, which include the AACSB, accredited MBA, and BA Business, are 100% online, 100% relevant, and 100% flexible. Reserve a place now at www.seidegrees.com. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on Win FM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on Win FM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Okay, and I'm back with you, and we're going to sort of change the topic now and go into a discussion as it relates to health. During the former Unity regime, we heard much talk about introducing health care, and then during their tenure, we didn't see much evolve out of that. Now, during this present regime's stint, we know that the Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader, has been speaking, being a medical practitioner, medical doctor, has been speaking about health and constructing a smart hospital. Also, there's been talk that we should eliminate this situation where individuals within our federation have serious medical health ailments, they find themselves moving around with sponsor sheets trying to garner the money that is needed for these very, very expensive procedures. So, healthcare is very, very vital to the development and sustained existence, comfortable existence of any nation, any people. So, we're going to listen to a bit of a clip that tells us some of the top healthiest Caribbean islands in the region.
Healthcare is one of the pillars that define the well-being of a country, not only on the physical side, but on the moral, psychological, and overall ethical levels. A structured system with prepared and compassionate medical personnel, good equipment, buildings, and fluid and straightforward administration that provides a pleasant environment where citizens can feel at ease, reassured, and confident that in the event of a medical necessity, they will be taken care of and treated with respect and compassionate care. While this is the norm in the Western world, it might be a little bit more challenging in the Caribbean countries, which are notably positioned on the lower rank in the world scale of the healthiest countries on the planet. On the other hand, the ready availability of healthy organic foods and natural resources, which are not so immediately available in other countries, even though more developed and industrialized, and the stress-free life that majority of the people live in the Caribbean all contribute to a healthier lifestyle and decrease the chances for all stress-related conditions. According to statistical analysis that focuses on healthcare infrastructure, professional competencies, affordability, and government involvement, in this presentation, we will give you a list of the top 10 Caribbean islands offering the best healthcare. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for our future videos. Number 10. Jamaica. This beautiful island nation, loved and chosen by huge numbers of tourists and expats from all over the world, is home to the University Hospital of the West Indies, with more than 20 public hospitals and several private facilities, mostly located around the tourist areas like Montego Bay and the capital city of Kingston, and caters adequately for most ailments. According to World Health Organization data, Jamaica is 53rd in the world for the effectiveness of its healthcare system, but only has one doctor per 1,800 population, which is a bit low on the world scale. Primary healthcare in Jamaica is delivered through a widespread network of clinics and health centers that reach even the most rural and remote areas, whereas private health facilities can be really good. The standards of the public healthcare system may not be up to the expectations of foreign nationals. Long waiting hours or days, insufficient beds, low-level infrastructures, and underpaid, demotivated personnel are common issues in the public health sector. However, private facilities offer better, faster services, but can be a bit expensive for the average household. While spending 5.4% of the country's GDP on healthcare, the government could do a better job on the delivery of healthcare in the public health sector, which means there's much room for improvements. Expats should consider a comprehensive level of healthcare insurance and access to cash to pay for treatments if and when upfront is required, and possibly enough to cover evacuation or repatriation if necessary. Number 9. Turks and Caicos. This country sees a constant reorganization in terms of public health sector, which has seen a significant improvement in the past decade, especially since the opening of Turks and Caicos Island Hospital in 2010, offering a range of services including OBGYN, oncology, accident and emergency care, general surgery, and outpatient hemodialysis. While the private centers are limited to outpatient care, the numerous primary health center clinics disseminated on the territory focus on maternal and child health, dental health, school health, and safe food handling. The last one is a known issue in the country, together with inadequate waste management and disposal and common hygiene techniques, which remain the major health challenges here. As a result of a rapid economic growth and a rising literacy rate and an overall increase in secondary enrollment, the Turks and Caicos healthcare system is on a generally positive trend, placing it higher and higher in our rankings. Number 8, Dominican Republic. Generally considered the most diverse Caribbean country, the Dominican Republic offers a bit of inconsistent healthcare service level. Medical care can be excellent, but only in specific areas of the country, mainly in Santo Domingo, while rural public hospitals suffer from the lack of up-to-date equipment and resources. The Dominican Republic also seems to suffer from a shortage of general practitioners, so the public is often referred to specialists, and the costs rise for this reason too. Medical care in the Dominican Republic is expensive, and advanced cash payments are often required, making it extremely important for tourists, expats, and locals to have insurance coverage. Healthcare in the Dominican Republic is ranked 51st in the world for average performance, and there is a ratio of 1.5 doctors per 1,000 population. Number 7, Puerto Rico. Although technically a U.S. territory, the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico does not share the same rankings as North America in terms of readmission, patient mortality, and emergency care. U.S. health insurance are valid here only for a short time, and healthcare in Puerto Rico is not free. Public healthcare is managed under a government program called La Reforma, which delivers healthcare services sourcing private health insurance. The Medicaid program provides healthcare and medical services to the low-income population, and the biggest hiccup is the long waiting times. Private healthcare, although expensive, is of very high quality and is delivered with insignificant waiting times. The doctor per 1,000 population ratio is 1.75. Number 6, Barbados. Medical facilities in Barbados are generally excellent, some of the highest levels in the Caribbean. The public hospital in Bridgetown, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, offers a wide array of diagnostic, medical, and treatment services at no cost to locals and residents, operating to the highest international standards. The hospital has been awarded the Golden International level by Accreditation Canada International. One additional private hospital and several private clinics are present in the country, but 65% of healthcare facilities are actually public. The current health expenditure is around 6.5%, with a doctor per 1,000 population ratio of 2.49. Barbados is sure to offer high standards of medical care with minimal waits and great attention to their patients. Number 5, Trinidad and Tobago. The Caribbean country of Trinidad and Tobago is widely known as an industrial hub with unmatched petroleum and natural gas resources. The flourishing economy reflects also on the medical system of this set of beautiful islands. With a 7.02% expenditure, the universal healthcare system is directed by the Ministry of Health and is split into two major tiers, the primary being the public one, financed by the government and providing the basic services, and the secondary being the private sector, which offers state-of-the-art services behind the national coverage. Expats here definitely require a good and comprehensive international medical insurance, able to cover also medical evacuation, as costs can be quite exorbitant. The ratio in Trinidad and Tobago is quite positive, with 2.67 doctors per 1,000 population. Number 4, the Cayman Islands. Medical facilities in the Cayman Islands are generally very good. There are 3 large hospitals, 2 of which are private, while the Cayman Islands Hospital in Georgetown is public and offers a comprehensive ensemble of services, including accident and emergency service and a decompression chamber, with a doctor per population ratio of 1.9 per 1,000, and with the presence of the largest hospital in the Caribbean to be awarded the Joint Commission International's Gold Seal of Approval. The Health City Cayman Islands in East End, the Cayman Islands are internationally sought after and proudly offer state-of-the-art healthcare services. Expats looking to relocate here will need to have comprehensive medical insurance or sufficient funds to cover potentially costly treatments. Number 3, Martinique. Martinique, St. Bart's, and St. Martin's are the overseas departments of the French Republic, and as such offer healthcare of generally very high quality, especially in Martinique with a whopping ratio of 2.87 doctors per 1,000 population. The standards are comparable to those in the mainland of France, which is ranked among the top systems in the world by WHO. Voted the safest island in the Caribbean in 2016, Martinique is an expat's paradise for European citizens who can enjoy Martinique's excellent public health system free of charge. Non-EU citizens will have access to the same treatments but will require an international health insurance. Martinique is famous for having one of the longest life expectancies in the world. 77.6 for men and 83.8 for women, a testament to the efficiency of its personalized, affordable, and high-quality medical care. Number 2, Cuba. Looking mainly at statistics and numbers, Cuba could easily be our number 1, but the levels and standards tend to be rather inconsistent, and some infrastructures need a good facelift nowadays. Lack of medicines, rundown buildings, and outdated equipment worsen the reputation, otherwise excellent, of Cuba's healthcare system. The country has outstanding private facilities, top-notch medical universities, and a comprehensive healthcare system for its citizens. The performance of Cuba is placed at number 39 on the WHO's chart, and the doctor per pupil ratio in Cuba is one of the highest in the world, 7 doctors per 1,000 population, a clear reflection of the high percentage of 11% of the government's expenditure in its healthcare system. Hey, if you find the information in this video useful, we would greatly appreciate it if you would give this video a like. Go ahead, click the like button just below. Thank you. The number 1 healthiest island in the Caribbean is the Bahamas. The amazing Caribbean island is a major tourist and expats hub with excellent medical system that easily compares to the Western world and satisfies the expectations of high-income foreigner citizens. With nearly 3 doctors per 1,000 inhabitants, the Bahamas ranks close to the UK and Finland, and the public expenditure on health touches a good 7% of its GDP, resulting in free healthcare for everyone and of very good quality. It is widely considered the most successful healthcare system in the entire Caribbean, ranking number 94 in the world according to WHO. The contribution of the government striving towards channeling funds and investment into the healthcare sector is the main reason why Bahamas is a paradise with an extremely developed healthcare system.
And there you had it, sort of a rundown of the islands in the Caribbean region that offer the best in healthcare. And it was rather surprising to hear that with all the embargoes that have been placed on Cuba over the years, and the seeming attempt to cut them off from the rest of the world, they still rank so highly in the healthcare system. Wow. Hello? Hello, good day. You're live.
Good morning again, Quinn.
Yes.
We didn't even scratch the list. We didn't even make the list. and look at it. You know why it is so sad? You know why it is sad? Because we had doctors as leaders, prime ministers. One doctor was in there for how much years? As the Jamaican would say, since Wappy killed Philip.
Yes.
Now we have another doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think because the profession is health, that their main goal will make sure that the country is healthy and have a good medical system, right?
Yeah.
So it is sad. We ain't even made the list. How sad can you be when we have doctors as leaders? What are they doing? Is the interest really the people of the country? Because, as you said, they talk about health. One doctor said they give us state-of-the-art hospital, and now another one want to give us another state-of-the-art hospital. We don't... Oh, Quint are gone before I say something we supposed to say.
Okay. How important is healthcare? It is very important. One serious ailment and all of your life saving expeditiously disappears. When you look at what is happening in Barbados in relation to healthcare, you're very impressed. Even though yesterday we heard that Barbados is among one of the highest indebted countries in the region, we see that internally she has some good things going, because in Barbados you can get access to free health care. So how fast should we be, as a Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, moving towards getting accessible health care that really makes a difference? And how do we go about doing that? Do we have something akin to the Social Security scheme where a deduction is taken and, over a period and so on and so forth? How do we go about that? Hello, good day.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning to you, Sylvine, and how are you today?
Are you giving God thanks, man? It's great to be alive, I tell you.
Great to be alive.
It's the mercies of God.
Yes.
What happened? Curtis, you working today?
Well, she works with an airline, and
I know, that's what I mean. If
she's not in with me today, but hopefully, I think if I'm not mistaken, she said that she would be in tomorrow. So let's look forward to
tell her tomorrow is my birthday.
Ah, well, happy birthday in advance, and may
yes, in advance.
And may you enjoy your day today and live to see many more.
Oh yes, I claim it in the name of the Lord. Want to be around. Well, I said you make 99, Lord, not 99, Jesus. All I ask is health and a sound mind, you know what I mean?
Yes, so far so good.
Yeah, man, that's why I'm working on it.
Yes.
Now, this health business, that Barbados thing is interesting, because I was listening. I usually listen to, let me turn on the radio. I listen to Voice of Barbados radio station on the talk show.
Yeah.
And I think even the Minister of Health was on, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Because there been some complaint.
Yeah.
What they were saying, it is free. They now have what is called 24-hour clinic. I forget what they call them. So like hours just close 3 o'clock and 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then some of the kind of, even though it's small, bigger than us.
Yes.
So they're saying, look,
and that
you can
and that 24-hour offer is very good, because you never know when a disaster might strike.
Yes, because what they were saying, the QEH, which is the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Yes.
The waiting time could be long, because they said people that feel that if depending on what they have, that they're supposed to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Just like some things we can do at our health centers, we still the hospital for.
Yeah.
But what in saying is the problem is not access, we have a lot of clinics.
Yeah.
Access to the medication.
Is access to the medication.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor access. So it put you go and you get medical attention.
Yeah.
And then you get a prescription, you go to the pharmacy, they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I've heard that.
And some of the things are, yes, and even at the hospital, the pharmacy, the other day I called in, I think it was on your station, and Dr. Jensen Morton was talking and giving all kind of excuse. No, and even some of the tests, I went to the lab. They're doing the cheap one, free. The rest you must go to a private lab. It seemed like a collusion between the government lab and the private labs. Maybe they want trying to keep them open.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
And like Newtown used to have 2 doctors working in the week. They're now working 2 days. And then Newtown area is big. The cannery thing, they have to come back to Newtown. Because they had opened one in one of the, I think in the community center on the Unity.
Yes.
The people coming back to Newtown and only 2 days, and they're telling you from 8 to 11. The other doctor used to be there, Dr. Wang and Dr. Matthew. Dr. Matthew was sent down to the Bastille Clinic.
Yeah.
Because to fit in for somebody or whatever. So I was asking the question, shouldn't we have a lot of doctors since we send them to Cuba?
But you know what Trump has been sort of purporting in relation to doctors and Cuba and that kind of stuff. So.
No, I asked the question because you go up there. Sometimes you go up there, the crowds are big. I mean, you get good service, eh?
Yes.
And I talk about the doctor, but the schedule.
Yes.
When you go from 8 to 11, you know, I have been there where you get service up to 12 o'clock or whatever, the crowds are big.
Yes.
But then you go to the pharmacy. Sometimes the basic thing you need not there. And then Dr. Jess was trying to say, well, they don't order the thing by themselves, which is true. There's the OECS, Pharmaceutical Purchasing Unit, right?
Yeah.
Which the country send the order. Oh, sometimes, he said, sometimes the thing to do the test, to test the blood for the A1C and to test the urine. Urine, you know, you must go private. Oh, sometimes the order ain't big enough. But the interesting thing is, while the government pharmacy lab cannot do the test, all the private labs are offering it. So what kind of excuse is that?
Yes.
So, you know, poor people, you go and you get the paper and you just go home and don't bother with it. The doctors will not be able to do the work properly because they have not received the result because poor people can't afford to do. The A1C costs hundreds, 200 or something. I paid for one. I called one the other day, tell me cheaper. You want, they start with the C1 scan, CT scan.
Yes.
They just set it up, you know, and they both, oh, we have it. Nevis got one a long time. By the way, Nevis is offering free mammogram. Free mammogram, you know, you better find $100 down in St. Kitts. All you need to do is to go to a doctor who will recommend if you need one, and you go to the clinic.
Yes.
It's from the 10th to the 14th in Nevis. Free. Nothing down here free. Even though you're over 62. But it doesn't make any sense if the policy says free and they don't have it. Then you don't. That is why they have not been on the list. And Barbados have a lot of private services, eh?
Yes.
What we have? I used to go to ophthalmologist. He has his own surgery right next to the doctor office and talk about modern equipment. These things that are blood in your eye and all kind of machines, you know.
So, Sylvine, what do you think we should do to expedite good, accessible, and cheaper health care in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
The answer is in the National Health Insurance System.
Yes.
Because it is not cheap. To me, I think it's about 6%. I think we used to have something like that. But it's not cheap. So if you have the National Health Insurance Scheme, because people in St. Kitts, they don't believe in insurance until they reach hospital, then you'll be able to cover the cost. Of course, we will be required to pay premium, just like you understand?
Yes.
So they could use somebody from the National Health Insurance to reimburse anything you buy.
Sylvine, hold your thought there. I have another caller. You don't go. I'm going to engage both of you. Hello to
Go ahead.
Hello to the other caller.
Yes. Good morning again. One of the indicators, I think, of the good health care system, I guess, is life expectancy.
McMahon, she says to speak a little louder.
Yeah, I was saying one of the indicators of a good healthcare system is the life expectancy.
Yes.
I think things like infant mortality and so on comes into play as well. But if you deal with just life expectancy for now, right, it's interesting to know. You know, it is the highest in the CARICOM region.
You mean here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
No. In the life expectancy in the CARICOM region.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this was in 2022. I doubt it has changed much since then. But it was Antigua.
Okay.
Antigua had a life expectancy of 79.24 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that compares with Cuba with 78.16.
Yes.
Jamaica was 70.063. Surprisingly, very low was Guyana with 65.99.
Okay.
That was one of the lowest in the region, along with St. Vincent, which was 68.97.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sylvine.
Now, the life expectancy, do you know the factors that affect it? When we have these lot of deaths, especially among the young males,
yes,
they were pulling it down, you know.
Okay.
Because we were heading there, we were in 76, 77. When they're busy killing up each other.
Good point.
And the life expectancy is only relevant to the year in which it was calculated for.
Oh, okay.
The life expectancy says a child born in this year is likely to live to that, male or female. Not necessarily everybody in it.
That's true,
and
Sylvine. But
I was must have gone much lower. Every time you turn on the radio, one lot of death. It's like a concert. That is pulling it down.
The thing is, though, Sylvine, like all indicators, yes, I understand what you're saying, but like all indicators, you have to take them with a grain of salt. The fact is, when I looked at these figures, it was also accompanied by a graph, a line graph, which essentially shows the trend, and there weren't any significant spikes in
the murders neither.
There weren't any significant spikes, right? So what I'm saying is, you have to just look at this indicator, because another thing that affects it is the effectiveness of your public health system generally.
Yeah.
And even things like our diet and how we exercise, or how our standard of living, all those things factor in.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, it is interesting to note that St. Kitts own is 72.03, which is at the lower end.
It's our own going down, you know.
Well, I don't know what it is in 2024, but these were 2022 figures. And like I said, the line graph did not indicate significant spikes anywhere. Okay. But what I would say, okay, is that something like universal health insurance and so on, I do not understand why it is so difficult to introduce in the country. You don't have to make it top notch at the outset.
Yes.
Just allocate a certain part of the health budget towards dealing with catastrophic illnesses, because that is where I think we generally fall down on.
Yeah.
When people have to go away to deal with major illnesses and so on.
When people die of cancer, this and that. If they had national health insurance, and our people on their own behalf got to learn to get insurance too, medical insurance.
Yeah.
But because of the high cost, of
everybody
health.
say, wait, give me a chance. Everybody say we need national health insurance. The whole process was done, completed on the Unity. Remember, the same UE from Trinidad, and they sorted it out. Started on with Labour with Marcella. Then they continued, and all that this government has to do is to give the premiums. It's like the Social Security, they're delaying, and while you're delaying, people dying.
Yeah.
Because the cost
Yes,
of medical attention
that's exactly it. Why is it so difficult to introduce? That is what I don't understand. Okay, you provide for it. When it's gone for that year, it's gone. But at least some people's lives would be spared by at least assigning some amount to it. And there's no reason why, just like how you can have payments towards everybody who has a social security number. There's no reason why you can't deduct straight off the bat, even if it is 1 or 2% towards that fund. I don't understand why it is so difficult to do.
The government pays a lot of money to National Caribbean Insurance, because they have a massive number of people on the government health insurance system. That money can be transferred to the National Health Insurance, which according to them will be controlled by National Caribbean Insurance. Through there. All the money they're spending,
So
it's really strange.
Sylvine.
It's really strange that we can't have this. I don't know if Sylvine can tell us how come in Barbados, access to hospital services are free. Are free. How do they pay for it?
They pay for it through the budget. But remember, in Barbados, a lot of private services are there too. A place called, I think it's Bellevue. Bellevue?
Yeah, Bellevue.
You studied in Barbados, right?
Yeah.
The whole area there is a specialist. So a lot of the services. I remember one day I went to a neurosurgeon, and then I used to go to ophthalmologist. The whole area come like it's only doctors and specialists in there. Instead, we got one specialist.
Sylvine, that
we can't do that though. We don't have the population size to have so many specialists, but certainly among the OECS, right now you'd have thought they'd have had specialist regions, specialist hospitals in regions, and a good air ambulance system that can channel patients.
I don't get votes.
Yeah.
Excuse me there. Sylvine, you made a statement in relation to the amount of people on the government's health insurance thing, and you also said that it could be transferred. I want a better understanding. Do you mean it could be transferred as a startup, sort of a startup means of starting health insurance in the Federation?
No, because the National Health Insurance would cover all those who are on the government health insurance scheme.
Yes, but
and even the private sector could transfer the people there.
Okay. Then I'm beginning to get a better understanding. That is what I wanted to be clear. Go ahead.
But it has always been the question is who's gonna pay for this? Because obviously there's a big cost, and there should be some buy-in, just like how you contribute to Social Security when you're working. It should be mandatory that there's something.
That is one the buy-in should be mandatory.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be.
Everybody gonna say no. Look how long it's taking to do the Social Security reform.
But apart from that, Sylvine, I think there's a payment? Isn't there a payment from into Social Security for like housing and health? A specific payment, part
you mean the social
of whatever
service
percent
levy?
it is, the
Social
levy.
service levy.
Right.
You hear what, you
So
hear what the IMF say about it?
What
What
did
it
they
says?
say?
The IMF says they could consider charging social service levy on non-labor income. On things like investment, they said investment and something else.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they need income, they need revenue. Because if we're going to be demanding, because Barbados pay income tax and high taxes, so then nobody fool you,
Yeah, that's true.
You pay maybe 25% or more of your salary. Barbados ain't no free or don't pay.
Yeah.
So they could afford to do it because the government collects a lot of revenue.
Because again, as Mr. McMahon says, their population is big enough for.
Everybody not gonna be paying things.
Yeah.
But it is also once you're paying and they find all kind of means to tax you.
Mm.
So Barbadians pay a lot of tax, but they get it back in terms of health and education and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you see, no personal income tax.
I think a lot. I think the region would be better served if there's some rationalization of healthcare regionally. I mean, I guess there are really good services.
But
some good
countries may
services.
be a drag on it, so it may not be. Who could pay, will pay. Who can't pay, will find an excuse not to try.
No, but look as was mentioned. Look as was mentioned. Martinique has good health services, and I guess St. Martin in some respect. What's to stop us from making arrangements with those countries for particular instances of health care?
Well, I mean,
but it requires a lot of work. Yes, it requires some work, a lot of work, and getting together.
We have drugs, but if you can't make an excuse, well, they ain't get enough order. Somebody should be able to work out what are the most common drugs that are needed.
Yeah.
And then the country itself could purchase that portion that is excluded.
Yeah.
But that sounds like an administrative problem, though, Sylvie. That sounds more like an administrative problem, and that you think could be solved.
And we're going to hang up for somebody to come on.
Yes. Okay, Sylvia. Yeah. So
that sounds like an administrative problem that can be solved easily.
It seems so.
Yeah. Right. But I think there is more we can do in this area.
We have another caller. Stay on the line. We have another caller. Hello.
Yes, good morning to everybody and greetings once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sin and from hell. Now, first of all, I would like to say that concerning the health issue that you all are speaking about now, let me first of all say this. And like I said, I just say things as a Christian. Government involvement in health goes contrary to the Bible and therefore is wrong and counterproductive. If we want to achieve the best health care system, we have to do it the Bible way, which is privatizing the whole health care system in a proper free market, capitalist, competitive way.
Mr. McMahon, what do you think about that statement?
No, I don't like it one bit. Right? Isn't there something that says God help those who help themselves?
Yes.
I don't like this idea of excluding government from.
There's no scripture in the Bible that says that.
What's that?
There's no scripture in the Bible says that. There's a lot of things we don't say that in the Bible.
Does the comment make sense though?
Partly. Because it is also true that God help those who can't help themselves as well. That is also another side of the coin.
Yeah, of course. The poor will always be with us. I guess I don't know if that's a biblical thing or another saying. But the whole idea of government washing the hands of things like healthcare, that isn't practical.
Yeah, I agree.
No. Let me say this. Let me say this. Government always give you the worst services compared to the private sector. If you want an inferior healthcare system, have government running it and controlling it. Anything you want the inferior version of, have government running it and controlling it. Okay?
That is a true statement, fairly true statement.
In countries that have, and I know of no exception.
But we're not speaking about, but Greg, we're not speaking about the government running it. We're speaking about the government putting regulations. That's what we're speaking about.
Well, we are talking about government hospitals. We are talking about government national insurance system. We are talking about government healthcare system. Period. That is what is being discussed.
Yeah. Well, you have a point there.
Sylvain did mention about private medical practitioners and so on in Barbados.
Yeah.
She did mention that, yes. But what I'm saying is that I know of no country, which is an exception, that have both government and private systems, where the people does not prefer to go to the private systems over the government systems. I've no exception, be it Canada, Nigeria.
But Greg, there's also need. There's also necessity, right? The private system cannot cater to the needs of all the citizens. It would cater to the upper echelons, but not the poorer citizens. What you're saying, that you should just abandon them?
No, in all the countries I know that have private health care systems, the poor flock to it more than they flock to the government health care systems. I don't care what country, it may be the U.S., Canada, Nigeria, Guyana, wherever else.
And how do they pay for it? How is it paid for?
Even the poor prefer to go to the private, and they will make the sacrifice.
Okay, Mr. McMahon, how is it in Cuba? How is the health system in Cuba in terms of the poor and isn't it across the board? Isn't it the government?
I don't know about the Cuban system to be able to talk with any certainty about
Authority,
it.
Yeah.
But they have a life expectancy of 78.16.
Yeah.
So they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be interesting to hear the life expectancy of the United States because they're normally regarded as the top notch when it comes to healthcare and private services and so on.
Yeah.
And, so it would be interesting to make that comparison. I didn't look up that one. But it would really be interesting because, you got to have bang for your buck.
Yes.
Right? There's no point saying that we got the best healthcare system in the world and only 10% of our population have access to it.
Yeah.
It can't work that way.
Go ahead, Greg.
Let me say this, quintessential. Let me say this. Number one, with Cuba, what I've heard in documentaries and that sort of stuff, and doctors saying and that sort of stuff, and I think the UN did a study in Cuba as well. And what I've heard come out of it is that the reason why Cuba life expectancy is recorded to be so high is because they count a lot of the neobirth numbers. They count a lot of them as pre-birth deaths. They count a lot of neobirth deaths as pre-birth deaths. So that is the reason why the life expectancy, based upon research and so that has been done, is really presented to be higher than what it really is in Cuba. Now, come back to the affordability. What government need to do, they need to increase the purchasing power of the dollar. like continually decreasing taxes, deregulation, that sort of stuff. That, like I said, the best leader in the world today right now, Javier Milei is doing in Argentina as the president of Argentina. Decrease these things. That would decrease the cost of living, inflation, that sort of stuff. And as you decrease these things, the purchasing power of your dollar would increase. Not only would the purchasing power of the dollar would increase, but it has also been observed that the more things become affordable in your country is the more charitable activities increase in your country, including charitable activities from hospitals, schools, and other institutions and that sort of stuff. The more life become affordable in your country. So what government would have to do to make a private healthcare system to be affordable to the poorest person is to increase the purchasing power of the dollar through deregulation, the constant decreasing of taxes and that sort of stuff. That would make life more and more continually affordable and increase charity activities as a result, including from institutions.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mr. McMahon?
How do you explain the fact that that model is not followed, let's say, in the Scandinavian countries, but yet they have some of the best indicators, whether it be in terms of living standards, happiness index, and those kinds of things. How do you explain that? And Argentina, you can't use Argentina. Argentina is the worst possible example to use because that right-wing government down there, sure, they're going to cut taxes and so on. But over time, who you think is going to benefit in the end? Right? Just wait a few years. Just wait a few years for that experiment to unfold, and then we'll see. Okay? Because I'm pretty sure that what's going to happen is that you're going to have a higher disparity in between the population,
rich and the poor.
Actually, when you cut taxes and that sort of stuff, everybody standard of living raise and the gap
that has been discredited, Greg. That has been discredited. This Reagan thing of a lifting tide, a rising tide lift all boats. That is not.
So give me one country where it has been discredited. Give me one country where the standard of living has been increasing for the general population, and the gap get larger.
There is a gap. For instance, in the European countries, where that is why the Social Democrats for a time came into power, because they realized this conservative thing of cutting taxes, hoping that there would be a trickle-down effect, does not actually work. It goes against, and you talk about the Bible, it goes against human nature. That when you have more, it's like Musk and them guys know.
Yes.
The more you have, the more you want.
The more you want.
It's just a quirk of human nature.
To me, it's just
right?
it's just a means of putting more money in the rich hand. And
of course.
The quintessential one. The quintessential one.
Yes.
Let me say this to both of y'all. Europe policies are more socialist than anything, a lot of them. But not only that, their taxes are very high. That's why the European economies, generally speaking, and there are exceptions like the Scandinavian and Singapore and Switzerland and so. They are the exceptions, and they are exceptions because the economies are market economy. But when you come like France, Greece, and Germany and these sort of stuff, and England and those sort of stuff, where you have a lot of high taxes and a lot of socialist policies, you find that the economy right now are tanking and in a lot of problems. Unemployment, everything very high and so. What I'm saying, contrary, okay, let's take the contrary, for example, in China, where some provinces has become more open and more in the direction of capitalism. Extreme poverty and starvation and that sort of stuff has been cutting down. The gap between the rich and the poor have decreased compared to when they were not so open. What I'm saying, but not only that, the problem in that even if some people gain more than others, even if that was the case, what you still want everybody gaining. That is what
I agree. But what I'm saying is this thing about some people gaining, if they're not regulated in some way by government, right? If you think that the wealthy is going to just give up their wealth to the poor, to the less fortunate, just like that, you have another thing coming.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Economics work. But that ain't how economics work. Let me tell you what would happen. The more open and the more capitalist and the more free market your economy is, which is the only economy model that works, all the others are failures, the more the rich do better in those economies, in the end is the poor always do better in the end as well. Because guess what? The rich invest in the economy, that sort of stuff, in the businesses, that sort of stuff, which create more employment.
But Greg,
bring down the cost of living.
Greg, even though I hear you and I understand to a certain extent what you're saying, this could only exist in a perfect world. If we're dealing with a realistic world and greed and that kind of stuff, it's not going to work. It might work for some, but it doesn't work for others. It cannot be. It cannot be said that it's going to work right across the board. But I do hear what you're saying, and what you say have some plausibility. But that could only exist in a perfect world. But that could only exist in a perfect world.
Right. The thing is to find a balance, Greg.
In many countries today.
You have to find a balance.
We have to find a balance.
You can't just have laissez-faire capitalism where the survival of the fittest, and that kind of thing. That would surely lead to the extinction of some people. Right? And so I'm saying there must be some happy medium where you don't have this unbridled capitalism, things don't get out of whack, and you don't have this huge disparities of income in countries, because that leads to instability. You have to have some level of state intervention, some level of balance for things to work.
Yeah, well, how come? Let me ask you a question. How come, be it China, be it India, because you're not using personal examples, you know. I'm using examples in the world where this is reality. How come places like India, China, Singapore, Switzerland, and you name it, how come these countries that has been more open, how come the countries that are most open, the countries that are most towards free capitalism, free market, how come they are doing the best in the world, and the countries that are mostly regulated by government are doing the worst in the world economically, where human development
that is a sweeping statement. That is a sweeping statement that is not true.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure they have. I'm sure that even in places like Singapore or Hong Kong or China or wherever, that they do have government the government intervene in their economies. They set policies.
How come?
It's not a free for all as you are advocating.
No, it's not. It's not, Greg.
I'm asking, how come consistently around the world that the countries that are most in the direction of free market capitalism are doing the best in the world, including where the poor are concerned, and those that are further away from that are doing the worst? And not only that, how come in Argentina?
But Greg, it is not as simple as that, because you have to
give
look.
Me one example.
You have to look. Okay, take a place like Dubai. Okay, how a country functions is as much and its resources that it has, as well as its ability to attract investment and capital. There is that global pool. So government policies and so on.
It's a duty-free port.
But Greg,
Cuba is a duty-free place.
But that is a result of government policy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You cannot. You want no government intervention, and it cannot work like that.
Okay, Greg, look
No
at
way.
this. Greg, in Singapore, in Singapore, right? We always hear Singapore used as an example of, to be followed in terms of how they have advanced. But would you say that Singapore government does not have any regulations?
No, I wouldn't. There's no country that don't have any regulations. Sad to say, all countries have some government regulations.
Because in Singapore, one of the main things they did, the ruling hierarchy, the leader, was to make sure that corruption did not play a big part. One of the reasons why a lot of these other governments that are failing is because of corruption. If the leaders would not go into avenues of corruption, their countries would see bigger means of advancement. So that is one of the reasons why they fail.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
I think there was some study that indicated that corruption leads, I think it was 20 or 30% of GDP.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge amount.
Huge.
Yep.
So that is one of the reasons why they fail.
Yeah, but let me say this. One of the biblical duties of government is to provide justice. So justice includes fighting corruption. That is one of the biblical duties of government. But government is not to be regulating peaceful, honest, economic activities. But yes, corruption is one of the God-given duties of government. I mean, justice is one of the God-given duties of government for government to fight against true corruption, not peaceful economic activities. And what I'm saying is that, and go back to Argentina again, including plus all those countries, but go back to Argentina again. The more Argentina is deregulating the economy, and that sort of stuff, is the more the economy in Argentina is booming. The poverty rate is less than the government who Millet replaced. The government before him was doing all that you all are recommending, and what was happening?
Greg, that is true. Greg, that is true the world over. If the pendulum swings too far to one side, it goes back to the other side, right? And that is what happened in Argentina, and that is what you will see happening. That if it goes too far, it's going to swing right back.
But I am saying you are wrong. I am saying is that the more Argentina deregulate, the more they're going to buy the way of doing things, is the more they're going to be benefiting.
But Argentina Argentina under military rule was one of the most right-wing countries in the world, most conservative country in the world, and the economy still collapsed. That's what I'm saying. There got to be some balance. The pendulum, if the pendulum swings too far one way, it's going to go back the other way.
And give me an example of that.
I just gave you Argentina.
Anyway. Let's not get into too heated. We want a rational, calm discussion here. Let's not get too.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Too heated.
Let's not just about. Let's use
wasn't Argentina on the Peron considered the bastion of capitalism as well? That's when all sorts of instability happened.
The Peron, it was socialist, and now all it was socialist, it was dictatorship and all of that. It was fascist.
Right.
But that's not
okay,
capitalism.
and they were fascists. They were fascists, exactly. And they are the ones who subscribe to the kind of economic policies that you are advocating. And I'm saying that eventually leads.
Under fascism, the government regulate the economic activity. The government is who really own the means of production.
Anyway, guys, we've reached the end of our tenure. I think that there might be another program to deal with the Prime Minister coming
Okay,
up,
Greg.
so.
All right, Greg. I know you're going to go back to your biblical stuff, and that's all right. But none of us, I think, have a monopoly on ideas. None of us may be completely right or completely wrong, right? We're all trying to find the happy balance, the happy medium of compromise.
Yeah.
And let's not be extreme in our views. Let's be open to a different way of solving our problem.
Yes.
Okay.
And let me say in reply, the Bible has the monopoly on truth.
Okay, so we've come to the end. Thank you for you guys.
Okay, thank you for the time you have given me. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon, also. Okay, so we've come to the end of another stint here. Let me bring this to a conclusion and see if we can get ready for the rest of the day.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Want to earn your degree from a U.S. university? Qualifying Caribbean residents can study 100% online at DeVry University.